If you are driven, if you're curious, and, most importantly, if you are just tired of feeling like your attention is a resource that's constantly being demanded
And drained.
and drained by the outside world, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we are taking a deep, critical look at source material that really redefines what influence and personal power actually look like.
Mm.
The material suggests that persuasion isn't just about, capturing someone's focus. It's about having the ability to lead it. We're
Yeah.
diving into the self-mastery it takes to get there.
And what's so fascinating about the material you shared is how directly it challenges our basic cultural assumptions about what influence even is.
Right?
We're all trained to believe that power means visibility, being accessible, having high energy. And our mission today is to unpack this hard-hitting argument that just rejects that completely.
And it's an uncomfortable one.
Oh, it's a very uncomfortable idea that many of us have been subtly domesticated into compliance, and that the core truth is, in the most meaningful sense, power is not available.
I appreciate you putting that emphasis on discomfort, because this isn't a deep dive about building walls or, becoming emotionally cold.
Not at all.
It's about cultivating this radical internal clarity, building something the sources called the authority muscle. So we're setting the stage for intentionality, for leading, not just constantly reacting.
Okay, let's jump in.
So the sources come right out of the gate with this claim that, honestly, it might sting for some people.
It definitely might.
It just says, you've been domesticated. It implies this training regimen, kind of like a pet being trained to do a trick for a reward.
It is startling.
Yeah.
But when you zoom out, you see the mechanism so clearly. We're trained by all these societal structures, right?
Mm.
Social media feedback, what your boss expects, even how you were raised.
All to prioritize external validation.
Exactly. We get rewarded with what the source calls these crumbs of approval whenever we're compliant.
So the wagging tail isn't literal, but it's these specific behaviors we do every day, the ones that signal we're putting someone else's comfort above our own peace.
Yes, and you see it in the little things that just chip away at our composure. It's smiling when you genuinely do not feel like it, just to avoid an awkward moment.
Or the instant reply.
The instant reply. That urgent response to every single notification, especially ones that don't deserve it, that immediate availability signals, you're just waiting for instructions, not working from your own clear plan.
And the most insidious one, for me, was this idea of explaining yourself when nobody has even asked a question.
Oh, well, that's a big one.
That constant justification loop just running in the background, preemptively defending every choice we make.
That over-explaining is a huge, huge leak of power. Because here's the principle that underpins this whole section. The world doesn't respect what it has easy access to. If you're always accessible, always available, always explaining,
Yeah.
you diminish your own value. You become, a standard item, not something rare or sought after.
I get the retail analogy. Nobody lines up for something they can just grab off the shelf. But let me play devil's advocate for a second. In a lot of jobs or even social settings, being responsive is seen as being competent.
Sure.
If I don't reply to my colleague in 5 minutes, they might think I'm slacking off. So how do you apply this unavailability principle without damaging those key relationships?
And that's the distinction. It's the difference between intentional unavailability and just being rude. The source material is very clear.
Yeah.
It's about non-reaction, not non-communication.
Okay.
If you jump and react to every little provocation, or if you immediately start justifying yourself when your boss asks a simple question, you're exposing what the source calls your emotional buttons.
You've labeled them and lit them up.
Like Christmas lights, inviting people to push them.
And when they push and we jump, we just reinforce that whole cycle. We train them that it works. That's the leak. When you react emotionally, you leak energy, you leak power. If you explain preemptively, you're inviting judgment from people whose opinions really shouldn't matter. And every justification causes you to shrink, whether you realize it in the moment or not.
It's a grab for those crumbs of approval.
It is.
Which brings us back to that really powerful and frankly sobering quote. The person who explains the most has the least power in the room. So over-explaining isn't clarity, it's just proof that you're still auditioning for a role.
And it connects directly to that need for external affirmation, which is what keeps us domesticated. To break that cycle, we have to look at what real authority looks like, which is the source's dirty truth.
Okay.
Power is rarely loud. It is almost never nice in that people-pleasing sense. And the core principle we're exploring today is absolute. power is not available.
That is a complete paradigm shift. I mean, most people think influence is being charismatic, the life of the party, having the loudest voice.
Right.
But the source material is saying that performance is often just masking a deep insecurity. Precisely. True power, or what it calls behavioral dominance, is magnetic. It's silent. It's incredibly calm in its composure. It isn't about building a cold fortress. It's the result of just rigorous internal discipline. You don't need to shout to fill a room.
So let's nail down the difference then between charisma and this behavioral dominance. Charisma is what you project, right? Your energy, your story. Behavioral dominance, as it's described here, is the effect you have when you walk into a room, maybe say nothing at all, and yet people subtly adjust their energy just because you're there.
And that effect is often built on the strategic use of silence. People, especially people who need that constant external feedback, they mistake your silence for weakness or maybe disinterest. And the source advises, let them.
Just let them think that.
Let them try to figure you out while you just maintain your composure.
Why is silence so potent psychologically? What's the mechanism?
The human brain is just fundamentally wired to crave certainty. We hate vacuums. So when you refuse to give people the immediate reaction, the explanation they expect, you don't just get their attention.
You own their attention.
You earn it. You create this psychological itch that only the puzzle of you can scratch.
Ah, so mystery in this context. It's not accidental, it's designed, it's maintained. The people who really commanded attention in history, they rarely shouted, they whispered, or even better, they just were.
And when you don't explain yourself or broadcast every little detail, others have to fill in those blanks. And this is critical. They will almost always fill that void with an assumption of power and competence, not inadequacy.
Because if you say nothing, they assume you must have powerful reasons for it.
Exactly.
Which is the complete antithesis of the modern world, which tells you to broadcast and share and justify everything immediately. This idea of unavailability feels like a real currency in a world that's so saturated.
It is.
It reminds me of that analogy the sources used about high-end retail, like that famous luxury store where people line up for things they know they can't easily have. It's not just that the product is scarce.
No, it's the seduction of inaccessibility.
Mhm.
And emotional inaccessibility, when you use it as the discipline, becomes the ultimate currency.
Okay.
If you want to be truly irresistible, you have to get comfortable not responding to every emotional pull. Your inner peace has to be impenetrable.
Which leads us right into the third part, the practical part. How do you actually build that internal power day to day?
And the cornerstone of it is mastering non-reaction. The source frames it as needing to be more non-reactive than the other person. It's an active practice.
An active definition of self-mastery.
Detachment is the key here, and it's not coldness, it's freedom. The source really emphasizes this freedom from a job that drains you, from a one-sided relationship, from the pressure to be liked. It's liberating yourself from needing a specific outcome from anyone else.
That need for constant understanding, for validation, that's the mental leash they talk about. We're tethered to the perceived opinion of everyone we meet.
We are.
So the goal is to learn how to cut that leash once and for all, and then just watch how the world's dynamics shift in your favor.
And when you cut it, you activate the most powerful tool of this whole discussion, the anti-manipulation formula. This is the one quote you absolutely need to remember.
Okay.
The second that you stop needing to be understood is the second you become impossible to manipulate. When you are indifferent to their judgment loses all its leverage over you. That's real internal clarity.
That sounds incredible in theory, but like we said, we're all socially trained to be agreeable. So practically, how do you start building this muscle? What are the concrete behaviors?
You build what the sources call the authority muscle, the self-respect muscle, every single time you withhold an unnecessary explanation. So for example, you get a highly reactive email or text.
Right. From a colleague or even a family member.
The practice is to not fire back immediately. You build that muscle by deliberately leaving it in your inbox for 24 hours. You only craft a measured, non-emotional reply when your composure is complete.
So that immediate pause, that moment of resistance, that's the resistance training for your authority muscle.
Absolutely. You are declining the invitation to their emotional chaos. The metaphor they use is perfect. Silence is your sword, and self-control is your shield. It's about reclaiming your identity from a system that wants us to be three things: agreeable, compliant, and digestible.
So becoming unreachable isn't about rejection at all. It's a declaration of independence.
It is.
Of self-respect. It's a signal that access to your time, your attention, your energy, it's earned. Not everyone qualifies just because they asked.
Now, you are going to meet internal resistance with this. Your brain is going to whisper that this behavior is rude, that it's cold, especially when you first start.
And what does the source material say about that little internal voice of doubt?
It says that whisper is your wounded past trying to earn connection through over-explaining. It's the part of you that believes you have to perform to be accepted.
Yeah.
And the material is so clear. This discipline isn't cruelty to others. It is clarity and self-respect for yourself. Repression comes from fear and leads to resentment. Control comes from internal power and it leads to composure.
Yeah.
You hold back not because you're scared, but because not everyone deserves access to all of who you are.
That distinction really clarifies the difference between power and need. If you are constantly craving affection, praise, compliments, if you need to be liked, you are not in control.
You're under control.
You're under the control of the people who can give you those rewards.
True self-mastery is needing no one external to feel real, to feel validated. It means not chasing attention and not reacting to every single notification or pull on your energy. Being unavailable isn't closing your heart, it's just guarding your peace.
That is a profound way to put it. You stop performing for everyone else and you start leading your own life. You're not being rude to others. You are finally being nice to you.
To synthesize this whole deep dive, we want to leave you with 3 declarations from the source material. These are anchors you can take with you to start building this new internal structure.
Okay, let's start with the one that defines your new authority.
My silence is not absence, it's authority.
Next, the Declaration of Freedom.
My control is not fear, it's freedom.
And finally, the hardest one, the Declaration of Self-Worth.
Access to me is earned. I will never audition for affection.
That's where the real power shift happens. Now, as you move through your week, just reflect on this idea. Where have passing comments or thoughts from people outside your trusted circle, people whose lives you barely even intersect with, affected your actual sense of self-worth?
And remember that external opinion is, at the end of the day, a fleeting signal. Someone telling you good job might feel nice, and that's a fine social exchange. But that praise should never be allowed to redefine your essential worth or who you are. Guard your peace like it's the ultimate asset.
Because the external world doesn't define your value.
Your intentional availability does.